Hey guys, Huzzy here bringing you another video. Now welcome to a bonus video here on HuzzyGames. So it's worth mentioning this is a bonus because, as most of you are probably aware, Baby Pleb is imminent. He's still not here right now as I'm recording this on Friday night, Friday the 19th. I'll probably upload this tonight as a bonus video. Yeah, I wanted to talk about this. I wanted to do a video, and I'm sure there's people who are like, I wonder what Huzzy's opinion of this is. But this is League of Legends Next, or League of Legends 2.0. They're not calling it League of Legends 2, like a straight up new game, but this is the next big chapter for League. So for those that didn't see this, it wasn't supposed to be announced yet. This is an official announcement, but it got kind of semi-leaked. I mean, we kind of knew about it quite a while ago, yeah, they were going to actually announce this in January, but because of what was going on and people were starting to report on it officially, they decided to launch it a bit early. So some of the language within this video could even be said, like, you know, last year, even though we're still in 2025. But what we'll do, we'll give it a watch for those that haven't seen it, because I imagine there's actually quite a lot of people that haven't seen it because they've not done a dev blog with this yet. I think the only place they may have officially launched it is Twitter. I think that's it. So a lot of you, I imagine, aren't on Twitter anymore. So we're going to watch it and then we'll talk about it. And obviously, you know, it goes without saying, I have spoken about this before. And when I was saying it, and I've got to make it very clear, all that I'm going to talk about is what I'm allowed, like what I'm officially allowed to say. That, you know, I can talk when leaks happen, technically, and I'm allowed to talk what they're talking about. So we're going to kind of go off of that. So yeah.
Longer term plans for League after 2026. We're often asked if we're going to make League of Legends 2 someday. And the answer to that has been and remains no. We've always been committed to constantly improving and updating League, from new game modes and champion updates to balancing the game every other week and so on.
There are some things, though, that do make the most sense as part of a larger bundle of changes. And with that in mind, we've been working on some bigger updates to League.
We're not quite ready to show you our work in progress. It's coming along well, but it's just not ready for a first look yet. We want to tell you about some of those things that, at this point, the majority of the League team are now working on.
So, for starters, we're making a brand new around-game client that's fully integrated with the in-game experience,
Thank God.
rather than being a separate application like today.
We're also revamping Summoner's Rift with entirely new visuals and a bit of new gameplay.
Plus some changes to runes and how you make some pre-game choices.
And we're overhauling the new player experience so that once we're done, it should be the best time ever to get your friends into League.
There is a bit more to this update than we've mentioned here, and we'll have more to share sometime later this year between MSI and Worlds. Until then, we'll still of course have regular dev updates on everything else going on.
Your love and dedication to League is what drives us to make this game better. Your voices and input are vital to League and will help shape where we go next. So as always, thank you so much for your time, your support, and just for everything. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you on the Rift.
Thank you all.
So there we go. So, bit to talk about. What I'll do, I'll get rid of them too. I'll make me a little bit bigger. Obviously, I've got nothing to show you because, as they said, they're not ready to show anything. But very clear to kind of go through each point. They're not making a League of Legends 2. But obviously, you could kind of call this a 2.0. What's the difference between a 2 and a 2.0, by the way? So a League of Legends 2 would be like an Overwatch 2. It would be a technically brand new game from the ground up, a separate installation, and it kind of completely replaces the old version of whatever it may be. This is an update. So this isn't a, hey, you need to download the new version of our game. This is one day that you'll click update on our pre-existing game, and it will just be what it is. That is the difference. So this is why they're calling it League of Legends Next, or some people are saying League of Legends 2.0, because it is basically a big update, a big patch. So goes without saying, the big thing, obviously, a brand new client. This is something that we've all been asking for a very long time for numerous reasons, but one of the biggest reasons that people would want this, by the way, is actually for performance, actual gaming performance for your machine, your PC. Having two separate applications, both kind of cramming for RAM and memory usage, isn't great, especially if you're on a little bit of outdated hardware or anything like that. So having a fully integrated client that, you know, it's like other games that you open it probably may become a full screen application, and that is the game. You'll click play, it loads, and it becomes the game. There is no like, oh, the client minimizes, then the game loads open. It's going to be fully integrated like an actual video game. So that should give us benefits for performance, obviously, which is very good. Other things to mention, obviously, then they're updating Summoner's Rift visually. I'm fine with that. Again, the last time we had a big visual update to Summoner's Rift, believe it or not, was about a decade ago. So, you know, it looks pretty good right now. But it's never a bad thing to get it updated. But then the kind of final point that I will say, in terms of what they've said, and then we're going to go on to a little bit of a speculation part of things that we kind of may know from leaks and stuff. Because I don't mind speculating, it creates hype, and I'm pretty hyped about this change. I'm happy for this, by the way. I want the game to have an update because hopefully that will bring players back or bring new players, and that's kind of the point. So the new player angle has been such a major thing with Riot for quite a long time now. The player base has been on a decline. When I even talk to my own audience, a lot of people going, oh yeah, I haven't played in a very long time or whatever. Like, people have stopped playing for various reasons. A lot of people would probably talk about the toxicity angle. And obviously in the last couple months, Riot has kind of, tried to have a bit of a crusade against that. Obviously you got Drew Levin on Twitter trying to be the White Knight of League, as it were. So it is good to see that, because a lot of people thought Riot just accepted it, but they are trying to do stuff about it, which is good. But then another big part of why a lot of people stopped playing was the time. And that has been a major thing. Now, even though it may kind of go against what I would personally like within the game, I do accept that I get to play the game for a living right now, and I have a lot more free time to play League of Legends because it is my living. If I worked a 9-to-5 job and I wanted to try and be high diamond or master, having games that last longer is worse for that type of person. And a lot of the player base is an aging player base. You can't hide away from it. The game's 15 years old, more now. And if you started playing it when you were 15, well, you're now 30 or over 30, and you've probably got a full-time career. You may even have a family, and you're going to have a very limited amount of time to play. So even a dinosaur like me, who doesn't love change, I can accept they want to speed up the game in various different ways to accommodate both new players and younger players who don't have the attention span, of longer attention spans, but it also accommodates a lot of the older players who have less free time nowadays. So even though it may affect gameplay a bit, I do accept that is definitely an important thing. So when they spoke about, there are some gameplay changes to Summoner's Rift, and we're making changes to runes, and we're making changes about choices you make before, even champ select, I would imagine all of them are going to be making the game speed up a bit and making that experience of having less time better for the average player. And we're already seeing this in the upcoming changes in 2026. A lot of those changes are about speeding up the game. Minions spawn at 1 minute into the game now, not 1 minute 30. Towers gain crystals if they've not been touched forever, and people can go touch them and they go bam and blow up. It's about to speed up the game. It's what Riot wants is, without making it complete one-shot meta again, because they lost a lot of players when they did that. This doesn't affect damage done, and it basically makes the games go quicker in other ways. And they're hoping it kind of balances out of people like, some people may not like it, but at least not everyone's just getting one shot all the time like a couple years ago. So what I would say is a lot of the changes that we will see to Summoner's Rift will be that. And how would you do that, by the way? I'm speculating here. This is not official Huzzy speculation. I wouldn't even be shocked if they make the map smaller by a bit. Even if you shrink Summoner's Rift by 5%, 10%, making it smaller, making it so people have to run a bit less to go do something, that immediately speeds up a game. Immediately. Either gameplay changes, make the map a bit smaller, or give everyone a bit more movement speed. That in itself doesn't affect it too much. That's the thing. It doesn't affect the actual game too much, but it would speed up the game a bit. and everything that they're trying to do is about speeding up the game. So that would be my guess what they potentially could be doing. But yeah, so that is that. So overall, I'm very happy about what they've officially announced. As obviously, you know, we have known for a while. And now just to kind of go over a section that, you know, they did say, oh, there are other things going on, but we're not going to talk about it. Obviously, you know, they said a little sentence that gives a bit of a hint, by the way. And it depends how much you want to read into it. But what is that hint? The majority of the team is now working on this. So that shows this is a big project when the majority of their staff are now working on this update, not what's happening in 2026. So for me, and again, this is where, you know, can you read a bit more into it here or there? And I think you can. It was one of the rumors that came out a few months ago that this big update was happening. And one of the rumors was 40 odd champions would be getting a remake, like a you know, a Scion remake, or you know, anything like one of those like refreshes, whatever they're officially called, reworks. 40 odd champions would be getting a rework when this happens. And I would say I can see that happening more now. Because if majority of the team is working on it, why do you need that many people? If they've said they're having, you know, there's a splash of an update on Summoners Rift, and there's a little bit of gameplay update. Well, that doesn't take the whole majority of the team. What would take the majority of the team would be updating 40 odd champions. Legitimately. So that's where I'm speculating I could see that happening. I would imagine the Shyvana update that everybody has been waiting for a very long time is going to happen with this. Like, because again, it hasn't happened yet. Why would you launch it in this upcoming year? So one thing I would say I'm slightly worried about in 2026 is actually how much stuff are we going to get? Like, how much new stuff? Like, yeah, I'm sure there'll be a couple new champions and stuff, because there has to be, really, with Riot's model. But I'm not sure, like, if you knew this big update was coming, would you really go, oh yeah, have 2 champion reworks now, when you could just hold them all for the big update? I think they're going to hold them for the big update. So that's personally what I think is going to happen. But overall, and that by the way is kind of the final kind of point from like the leaks a couple of months ago that really, I think, mattered, is a lot of people. Oh, and the only other thing that I would say when it comes to gameplay update of something that I hope happens, so I'll put that out there. I hope there is a complete refresh to hitboxes within the game. If they've said, oh, there's some gameplay updates, that's technically a gameplay update. Hitboxes in League are not the best, and it is for a financial reason. Is League of Legends, you know, when you look at kind of when you actually are designing a game, back in the day, you know, when I say back in the day, 15 years ago, a lot of games used rectangles, very small rectangles and squares, and they would build up rectangles and squares to make a character. And that would be kind of the outer box of a character that you don't see. And it would be a hit detection around the character that's technically full of rectangles and squares. That is 99.9% of League of Legends characters. There's only one spell or character in the game that Riot said themselves, I remember being in Berlin, was it? I think it was Yunara, is the first champion that had a circular ability. Genuinely. The only one. Anivia ulti, which is a circle, is not a circle in what it detects as hits and stuff. It is made from tiny little rectangles. So that means somewhere there is a pixel that, even though it should be a circle like this, it's a square, and it could miss somebody, or it could hit that it technically shouldn't. Morgana Bind, even though it looks like a circle, it'll be a rectangle coming at you instead. So I hope one of the refreshes they do is that. Hitboxes. Give characters accurate hitboxes that go around their actual character, and every spell, if it's a circle spell, make it a circle. If it's a rectangle, make it a rectangle. If it's a star, make it a star. Like, whatever it may be. Like, I want accuracy when it comes to hit detection and all that stuff. So that is my hope. If you said, Huz, what is your wish list? That. I want hit detection to be updated, because it is outdated. It does feel old. It does feel bad when you get hit by a Morgana Q and you're like, that didn't hit me. But it hit you because it's the rectangleness of the ability that's hitting a rectangle character as well, technically. But, you know, no character is technically rectangle, and Morgana's Q should be a circle, not a rectangle as well. So that's my hope. But let me know what you think. Are you hyped for this? I personally, I would say I am hyped for this. I think it's pretty cool. Obviously, it goes without saying, you know, not to be sad or anything, but by the time this update comes out, I doubt I'm a full-time content creator. I'll still be here. I've made it very clear that if I do get myself a career job, I'll still be making content. I'll still be streaming. That is my goal, at least for the first few years of like my kind of career, as it were. But obviously, it goes without saying that does depend on me getting a career job. So if no one hires me, I'll still be here full time because this is what I do. But or who knows? Maybe my channel will get a huge blow up in the new year for some reason, and we can continue doing full-time content for many years to come. I don't know. If you want to see that happen, by the way, make sure you like and comment and all that stuff. Help me out, because that is the way that it's going to have to be. But no, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think of League of Legends Next, is what they're officially kind of dubbing it, I believe. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'm going to upload this literally in like an hour, so it's fresh. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Welcome to the Rift, where the legends play. It's HuzzyGames bringing skill every day. From tips to tricks and play so fine. You'll learn the game and have a good time. Thanks for watching, you're the real MVP. Hit that like and sub, join the family tree. Like, comment, and subscribe. Keep the Huzzy dream alive. Tune in on Twitch, it's the place to be. HuzzyGames, let's go hang with me. So hit that bell, don't miss a thing. Thanks for the love, you're making me sing.